1.5 million people in Michigan receive benefits from the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. And now, new work requirements could impact a number of people who get those food benefits. Good evening. I'm David Andrews.
And I'm Amaya Kaznicki. SNAP provides low-income families a way to pay for their groceries. News 10's Bobby Cushing joins us live in studio with what these requirements are. Hi, Bobby.
Yeah, hey, good evening, David and Amaya. New work requirements now state that an able-bodied individual must work an average of at least 20 hours per week or participate in 20 hours a week in an approved employment and training program. Now, there are some mental and physical exemptions for meeting those work requirements. However, people around the state are worried about the effects this may bring. For those who use the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, they may find that new work requirements could potentially impact their benefits. Ann Hamming with Feeding America West Michigan says the age exemptions were raised from 54 to 64. For parents receiving SNAP benefit exemptions, it lowered the age of qualifying child dependents from 18 to 14.
The evidence is quite clear that adequate nutrition is essential for child development, kids' abilities to learn and to grow and to meet their full potential.
But SNAP doesn't just help with food insecurity.
There's also a significant economic impact. People spend those SNAP dollars at their local retailers, and that fuels jobs and just a healthy local economy.
Jerry Norris, CEO of The Fledge, says programs like SNAP are needed in a city like Lansing because around 50% of the people living there don't meet the minimum threshold to afford basic necessities, and thinks a loss of benefits could make it even worse. And he's seen how much of a need food is firsthand.
And so we've got a free stand that is available to people 24/7. If I fill it with food right now, by the end of this afternoon, that will all be gone.
Now, both Hamming and Norris fear those who have benefits from SNAP could face even more food insecurity and potentially lose access entirely due to the new requirements. David and Amaya.
Thank you, Bobby. According to SNAP data tables, average monthly participation in Michigan has increased each year since 2019, reaching more than 1.4 million in 2024.
Also, state legislators